Did you know that this week is Winter Driving Awareness Week? Well, one guy that sure knew that is our good friend James May. He's the district press officer with PennDOT, always here to give us important information. So tell us what this week entails.
Well, you know, in November, we had a pretty significant snowstorm that came in. The first storm of the season was a wallop for the area. And one of the things that we found was that a lot of the forecasts were not exactly accurate. The rate at which it was snowing was much more severe than what really any forecasters were saying. And so that created a little bit of difficulties for a lot of drivers. So while I have been here in the past for Winter Driving Awareness Week, I think this year is especially important because we all saw what can happen.
That was a bugger, and there were a lot of people trapped in various areas. We had, I guess, tractor trailers that got stuck, drivers that got stuck. So we have to make sure we have the right tires on our cars as well.
There were a lot of lessons, and we just had an after-action review on that storm, and there were a lot of things that we realized. One, with the first storm of the season, a lot of people didn't have good tires on, because when you're driving in the summertime, you don't realize how bald your tires are until you go out in the winter and try driving, and you realize that, okay, my tires aren't quite as good as they really should be. That was one of the issues. Another issue that we found, and this was the first they ever heard of this, but some of our drivers were telling us that a lot of motorists didn't understand the importance of moving over to let them pass to get to the front of the line. You know, we always hear that if there's a fire truck or an ambulance behind you, move over and let them pass. But we had situations where our plow trucks and also tow truck drivers were not able to get up there because people weren't moving over to let them pass. So we're doing a big push this year on let the plow pass. If you see yellow lights behind you in the same way that you would if you saw red lights behind you, move over and let them pass so that they can get up there. Also a reminder to people to make sure if we do have another storm like that, or even if it's maybe not quite as bad as that, make sure your gas tank is filled up ahead of time before you head out.
We were talking, though, before we came on the air here, too, as well. And I think people expect that when they get stuck, that plow is going to be there instantaneously and that you have ESP that you know. So you were telling me because of that first snowfall, the snow came down quicker. It took longer for the loop that the trucks make because they have a regular path, I gather, that they go around.
Right here in northeastern Pennsylvania, we have 8,500 snow lane miles that District 4 is responsible for. If you would just make that one line, it would go from here to Anchorage, Alaska, and back. So we have 200 plows that are responsible for that many miles of state roads. What that means is some of our plow routes are 3 hours long. So by the time they go past your driveway, it'll be 3 hours before they come back again. Now on the interstate, it's not quite that long, but you know, some of our routes are 3 hours long. That means two things. One, if it's coming down like it did in that last storm, in the November storm, at 3 inches per hour, that was the rate. They were predicting 1 inch per hour. It's coming down about 3 inches per hour. That means that as soon as the plow goes past your house, 20 minutes later, there's an inch of snow on the driveway, on the road out in front of you. It also means that by the time they make the route and come all the way back, there's 9 inches of snow on the ground. That's just the math, the reality of what you're dealing with this many miles of state roads. So that means, again, if you don't have to be going out in those storms, don't go out in those storms. Go to the 511 app or online, and you can actually see when the plow has making its rounds. You can see when it was last past your house, and it makes sense. If you have to wait 15 minutes, let the plow go past and get behind the plow. So there's a lot of resources and technology out there that can help you, but many times the best thing you can do in a storm like that is to stay home and stay off the roads.
All righty. Great advice from James May again. This is Winter Driving Awareness Week. Hopefully we won't have anything too difficult to deal with, but you should always be aware of the conditions and always stay safe.